Okay, we're starting on Mortarion, the Daemon Primarch of Nurgle, the big boy of the Death Guard. Comes on 2 sprues and a 100mm base, and they give you the options of switching up his weapon hands. Being a lefty, I'm going to put the silence, his big scythe, in his left hand and the lantern in his right. So, yep, there's that big base there. Like I said, 2 sprues, lots of detail on this guy, and I'm actually going to do this one a little bit differently than I normally do. Normally I just put everything together and then give it a primer, paint it all up, but since there's so much detail on Mortarion here, I'm going to do it and put them together in sub-assemblies. Right here's a technique that it kind of worked out for me. I figured I'd try it out here. Take some extra thin from Tamiya, brush it on, and you just kind of like stipple it with a stiff bristle brush. I'm using the kind of brushes that you use for like school projects, just to give it some texture. It kind of worked out. Priming, it's going to be red brown from Res. Love my Res. Just going to give nice coating here, and this is actually done in 2 coats. I wanted the red brown so I could get some rust effects on there. But yeah, huge model, and I'm actually building at the base a little bit taller because I figure if he's a huge model, he's a huge centerpiece model. I want everyone looking up at him, including everything from the battlefield. So just getting some 1/4-inch cork, adding that to the 100mm base, put it on the right way. There we go, and just give him a little bit more height there. And I'll be basing him like I base all my Death Guard. And I'll throw a card up for the Death Guard basing video, which is surprisingly my best performing video as of late. I don't know what's going on with it, but thank you. I appreciate that. I did go ahead and add some of that kicker, some of that super glue activator in there, just to get it fixed down a little bit quicker, because the plastic on the cork didn't really stick right away. But just getting the super glue on there, just pop it on there. And like I said, I'll be using the my standard Death Guard basing scheme. So there we go. Just a little higher up, and down the road we're going to add some more real estate to that, including a couple skulls and some of the little half pearls for the bubbles. Using the airbrush, just getting some light gray primer on the areas that were not rusted, and you can see a little bit of that texture still comes through. It wasn't as pronounced as I was hoping it would be, but later in the video I do something a little bit different with his tabard. But yeah, this is just this is actually Vallejo surface primer, because I don't have light gray in the Res. And getting the top of his little hood there. Just the end of one of those stiff bristle brushes with some poster tack on there. Yeah, fun kit, but very detailed, and I decided to do it in sub-assemblies, get them painted up first because I didn't want to lose any detail. This is Army Painter Wargames Fanatic Tomb King's Tan. I don't have a lot of Army Painter paints in my range. I'm just not a fan of their paints. Sue me. So, but I love Vallejo, and I like some Citadel, but Army Painter, not so much. Okay, I took a napkin here with some white glue thinned down, and I am putting that right over his tabard. And it's gonna look a little messy, but it comes out fantastic in the end. First time I ever tried this, and I wasn't too nervous, because if I didn't like it, all I had to do was just soak it in some water and pull it right off. But it gives you a little bit more texture on there. And then I just take my hobby knife, put some tears in the cloth, or in the napkin, to make it look like cloth, and just add a little bit more detail that way. Now, thinking about it after the fact, I probably could have hit it with some thin super glue after everything had dried to make sure that stays on there. I could try that again later on. Onto the sponge chipping. This is some Citadel Rhinox hide. And just doing a little bit here and there. I don't want to go too crazy with it, but I figure his armor's got to be pretty rusted up by now. So Just want to add a little bit of details to that. Now you'll notice this video is in 2 parts. There's no way I could have done this in 1 part without it being like 2 hours long. It's just too much going on with it. But I know I don't like to do 2-part videos, but I'll have to deal with that with this one. So, all right, a little bit of Caliban green, and just going to get that on his pauldron. I really like the that 30k Death Guard armor, the cream color with the green. This is a little take on it. I mean, most of it's cream, but dirtied up. I love that look. All right, adding a little bit of Death Guard green to that. We're going to do this in stages here. We're going to add a little bit, and it's a little bit blurry, but you get the gist of it. And then straight Death Guard green right on top of that. That is that's a little recipe I saw off of the Grimdark Compendium. So stolen, but I am giving credit. So. But yeah, this couldn't have been 1 part because it's not a tutorial, but there is so much involved with this. I just wanted to make sure that everything is there for you to see and there for you to possibly enjoy. Scale 75 Decayed Metal. This is another one that they mentioned on the Grimdark Compendium, but I've used this before. There we go. That's going to give a good base for the copper. And I'm using that same color through the airbrush. I'm going to get the silence there. And like I said before, there's so much detail in this model. I had no idea how much actually went into this thing, but between my work schedule and all the detail in this, it's taken a little bit longer. So, all right. Speaking of Grimdark Compendium, Villainy Inks, Goon's Grime. I am loving these inks. I like oils, I like enamels. These are perfect for Warhammer 40,000. And you just dab it on there. I'm sure you could spray through an airbrush, but I didn't want to have to do all that extra cleaning. But you get it on there, let it dry for a while, like 15-20 minutes, and then just come in with some mineral spirits, wipe away a good portion of it. It's the redactive process. And sometimes it works a little bit better than other times. I've got some Space Wolves that you might see here in the future. We'll see. But I've used it on them, and yeah, they look pretty grimy. So, all right, just gonna get some of that off of there. You don't need to slosh the mineral spirits on there. You'll need to get enough on your brush to pull it away. There you go, and you can see that cream color coming through and nice and dirty around it. Love it. Alright, so I got a mix of Scale 75 Huldra Blue and Vallejo Royal Purple. That's going to be for his outer cloak. And then there's our red-brown primer again from Stynylrez. As I'm waiting for one thing to dry, I'm painting another thing. And I'm really surprised that glue didn't reactivate and start pulling away that napkin there, but it worked. Like I said, next time I want to try putting some thin super glue on there, see if that, it should lock it in place. But there we go. A little bit more detail in there. Okay, we're going to darken up the cloak a little bit with some a mix of Royal Purple and Abaddon Black. Yeah, just want to get it on the inside of his those cloak folds there. And that little scarf type thing that comes off his headpiece. Later on I'll just go ahead and highlight these separately. But I want to get a little extra color on there. And there's a little back tabard there. Yeah, there's so much detail on this thing. I mean, I'm so glad that I did this. Did a lot of the painting beforehand, because it is just crazy how much detail he has. And rightfully so. He's a centerpiece model. He wasn't cheap. I mean, thankfully I was able to get most of them paid off with a gift card. But I think roughly about 170 bucks nowadays. And that was Screaming Skull for the outside of his cloak, or his inner cloak rather. Hull red from Vallejo, and get that on top of the that primer there. And it does look a little bit more like cloth. I mean, that's what I'm telling myself. But yeah, 2 parts. At the time of editing this, I'm kind of almost finished with them. So yeah, the wings are still going to be fun to do, but that's okay. He's a fun model. Alright, we're getting some more color on those chains there. And then we're going back to the tabard because the previous layer had dried, so we're getting some Mephiston red on there. And I'll do a couple different colors with this. I'm going to add some black to the Mephiston red, and then just black for the outer edges. Make them nice and dirty looking. Because you figure Death Guard, he should be pretty nasty. Now this isn't the first time I've actually tackled Mortarion, well, part of him. My son got him, and he asked me to paint up his wings a while back, so I did that, and I think it's like a little 45-second video on the channel. But I'm going to do pretty much the same technique as I did for mine, because I kind of liked it. Alright, just adding that Abaddon black into the Mephiston red, like I said before. And a little shaky there. And just going to stipple that on the edges. I figure where it's going to hit everything and it's going to be nice and dirty, so just go ahead and make it look like it's dirty. Yeah, hopefully he turns out the way I'm imagining him, so. Alright, then we're going to get those, just the edges, the outermost edges with some black. And if it's not completely dried, that's fine. I'm not exactly wet blending, but if some of it does blend, I don't have an issue with that. Okay, now I said earlier I'm not a huge fan of Army Painter paints, but I do like their washes. This is their soft tone, so I'm just going to give it a good wash all over the whitest part of the cloth there. And I'm wiping away some of it because I do have a look that I want it to have later on. So I just want a nice tint to the cloth there. Alright, so for dry brushing, some royal purple and white from Vallejo. And this is sped up, but I was actually going pretty fast on this one when I was doing it. And doing the same color just on the edges with the brush. Okay, get some Balthazar gold onto that decayed metal there. Add a little bit more color on there. Later on, I do hit it with some verdigris. And then this is going to be Runefang steel. Just a quick dry brush on there. And that is a nasty looking brush. I think it's time to take some of my brushes and retire them to dry brushes. Alright, 2 different faces for Mortarion. So I'm picking the one that kind of looks like he's giving his left side the side eye there. We're getting some rust on here. I believe this is an artist oil, orange yellow. And then I'm going to get it around the armor there, around those chains, as like staining. And then I do wipe off some of the spots that are a little too pronounced. That's what I love about oils. Yeah, I can go back the next day and clean it up even more if I wanted to. There we go. And a lot of that I'm just wiping away on a paper towel and coming back and cleaning it off. Alright, the thin verdigris, you didn't see that applied, but that's, you can see that bluish green there. And I've also got the mood green that I'm adding into those craters, little pock marks on his armor there. It's very thin down. Looks good. Very cool. Alright then, Athonian Camel Shade. This is one of my favorite Citadel washes, or Citadel shades rather. Get it on all the copper parts, and it gives you a nice little patina on there. You're not going to get that bluish green verdigris like it was in the previous segment, but it gives you a darker green kind of cover to that. Okay, Vallejo model color white for the tips of the ends of his cloak there. They're turning into mist or smoke or whatever you want to call it. It's going to give us a good base for the next actual colors that are going to be going on there, which is emerald green artist oil, and not necessarily capillary type action, but it's going to fill in those recesses and get a nice deep color in there for your next batch of colors. And again, since it's oil, I can always come back and take off what I don't like. And there's Mr. Morty right there. Nice little fluorescent green glowing eyes. And with that oil paint, I actually put that in the bottom of the silence there. You can see that green there. That was actually capillary action right there. Didn't film it, but it's there. Now we're getting the Athonian Camel Shade on there as well. Alright, Tesseract Glow. I'm just running this through my airbrush. Just a little bit more color there. And give it to that greenish white smoke. And I've seen so many people do different color smokes on Mortarion. I've seen green, I've seen gray, I've seen blue. I just like to have fun with it. There we go, it's looking pretty good. Nice. Alright, starting to get these little Nurglings painted up too. Get them primed up. Like I said, with all the details on this thing, there's so many things that you could miss if you don't look closely. I don't know what my hand's doing there, but oh, I think I was unclogging the airbrush. Looks a little spattery there. Okay, got those half pearls on the base. And that's actually just clear resin on there. I just took a pipette and pulled some out of my one of my 3D printer resins. Put it on there, cured it up. You got the nice little bubbles. Look at those veiny hands. Alright, more Orthonian Camo Shade with a nasty brush. That's fine though, because all I'm really doing is stippling that on there. Just want to give some age to that metal. And you can see I've got the green smoke on top as well. And so many of these little ball and chain type incense burners are all over this his outer cloak. Alright, we're going to get a little bit more color on that skull there. Yeah, such a fun kit. And just getting some dry brushing on that Nurgling. I still got to do the wings for them too. A little gas mask and Nurgling. Love it. Now this smoke here, at first glance until I started dry brushing it, I thought it was a skull. I thought it was some sort of an animal skull, but it's the smoke. Oh, yeah, sometimes I can be a dumbass. It's all good though. It's all for Grandfather Nurgle. Hey, but we're nearing the end of part 1 here. Part 2 will be up soon. But in the meantime, find me on Instagram at Out of This World Models and Minis. You'll see my in-progress pics that I put up there. So, but in the meantime, thank you to all the subscribers. Please give the video a like, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, if you liked the video, check out the selection on the left-hand side there and subscribe on the right. And again, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.